Today's video is about the world of shoes. So these are the Crocs that I printed out today. They fit these gibbets that I printed out for Star Wars. And to make them more comfortable, I got these inserts off of eBay. Now, the problem with 3D printed shoes is that often they can not really live up to what they're doing. This is a standard flip-flop, and that looks okay. Flip-flop's fine. But when you get into the idea of making like a Birkenstock as a 3D printed shoe, you find out that this is not the best. I mean, it's got a nice bit of arch support, but it doesn't really look like a Birkenstock. It looks like a 3D printed shoe. And there's other people who review these shoes. The larger shoes are shoes that you probably aren't going to wear around because they are kind of like boats. They don't really work, right? Because they're a larger shoe. However, certain models of shoes, like these Crocs that you can print out yourself, are really good for 3D shoes because they literally are replicas of Crocs. For example, here is a Croc pair that I own, made by Croc, and the similarities between these two shoes are really apparent. Now, this shoe has more tread than the 3D printed Croc, which is a smoother surface, but the thickness of the sole is comparable, right? And so you don't really have the kind of mushiness of some of the 3D shoes that are difficult to wear. For example, some people are looking at 3D shoes that are called so-called barefoot shoes, and they're kind of make woven in like a Baroni style. But to me, that's more like a sock, you know, than an actual shoe. So in between, the largish 3D printed shoes and the sock type things are these Crocs, which you can print out at home. I used FPLA flexible filament. Each shoe took around 19 hours to print a piece. But in 2 days, I have my own pair of what I would say are relatively legitimate Croc replicas, right? Which is part of what you want to get out of 3D printing. Now, what's also nice about these Crocs is because they're replicas, they will actually work with standard Croc add-ons. For example, these are a little slippery on my feet, uh, but what I did was I just got two inserts from Amazon for Crocs that button into the Croc and create a wearable shoe, like a moccasin. So for $15, you can put together a set of Crocs um, with um, with furry insoles, as opposed to paying $65 to $85 for lined Crocs at a store. So this is an addendum, and once you read this, it actually says use the rivets that it comes with to replace the pegs in the clocks. So what I'll do is I'll just pop this off, pop that off. Now it says for original Crocs, you kind of have to cut off the pegs, but since these pegs are not from original Crocs, all you have to do is kind of work them out. And I think the rivets are actually going to work better. So that's one peg. And this is peg 2. Now it says these rivets lock in place, so I want to make sure that I get the rivets right. So I would think that the larger end is the end that actually goes through the strap. So once we get that out, and I think it makes more sense to use their rivets than the ones I printed out because it was a little wobbly that way. If I could just get this open. Okay. Okay, so what you got to do is you got to get the assembly right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, right. Okay, so what you do is get this over the strap because this is going to be the outside, and then fit this into the hole with the strap cover. Then this goes through the crock body. Hope this will work. And that goes through there. This goes through the second one. This is the post that fits into that one. So once you can figure out where that is, push those together and they should lock into place. All right, so that one's fixed, which is good, and that makes the strap move. I think they're designed to be thinner than the original crock pegs. So what you got to do is, like I said, same thing. Make sure that the outside is set up properly. That one just went flying. Fortunately, I figured out where it went. Okay, so that goes through there. That goes into the hole. And you need to figure out where the other hole is. There's the other hole. Right, there's the other hole. And then you fit a cap on like this. Push down, and it locks in place, which is pretty good. I'd rather have the pegs that it came with than with the pegs that were actually printed out for the shoe, because it has a nice little dot on the end and the strap goes back where it's supposed to. So that's the first one, and that looks pretty good. And I'll do the next one and then I'll show you how it looks after I do that. So here are some shots of the Crocs in action. And as you can see, they look pretty good. I may have to turn some more lights on so you can see them a little better. And I do think they look more like Croc replicas than anything else. And I believe I can wear them out tomorrow. Anyhow, new Crocs.